The silence started the second they left the wedding planner's office, and it didn't end for the rest of the night. G had told the planner, "We're fine, just pick one," then said almost nothing to H the entire drive home, jaw tight, staring out the window. That wasn't G being easygoing. That was G avoiding a conflict G didn't yet have language for. There's a name for what's happening here: avoidant attachment. It just means when things get tense, the instinct isn't to lean in and work it out together. It's to shut down and handle it alone, even when alone is sitting 3 feet from the person you're marrying. I'm Dr. Shae, and this shows up constantly in wedding planning. Not because couples disagree more during it, but because it's the first time some couples are forced to make dozens of decisions together, fast, under pressure, in public. Here's the tip. If your partner goes quiet mid-decision, don't ask, "Are you mad?" Ask, "Do you actually have a preference here, or does it feel easier to let it go?" That question gets you a real answer instead of a reflexive, "I'm fine," because the wedding isn't testing your taste. It's testing whether you can stay present with each other when it would be easier not to. Here's what G didn't know about her own silence. It started long before this relationship. G grew up in a house where disagreement meant someone eventually raised their voice. So G learned early that the safest move was to have no opinion loud enough to be worth fighting over. H didn't grow up that way. H's family debated everything, loudly, and made up 5 minutes later like nothing happened. So when G goes quiet, H reads it as G checking out of the relationship. When H pushes for an answer, G reads it as the exact conflict G was trying to avoid in the first place. Neither one is doing anything wrong. They're both running a system that used to keep them safe, and neither system was built with the other person's system in mind. It's never about the flowers. 2 people can want the exact same wedding and still end up fighting through the entire planning process because the actual fight is about whether disagreeing feels safe. If every planning conversation ends with one of you going quiet and the other one pushing harder, that's not a taste problem. That's 2 nervous systems reacting to conflict in opposite directions, and neither of you chose which one you got. Before your next planning conversation, agree on one thing first. If either of you goes quiet, that's the signal to pause, not push. 15 minutes later, come back to it on purpose. Why does naming the pattern matter more than fixing it in the moment? Because avoidant partners don't withdraw because they don't care. They withdraw because closeness during conflict feels like danger, something learned long before this relationship. Anxious partners don't push because they're needy. They push because silence feels like abandonment, and reaching for reassurance is the only way they learned to make it stop. G and H's actual problem was never the seating chart, the guest list, or the flowers. It was that neither of them had ever named which pattern they were running, or told the other one what it actually meant when they went quiet or pushed harder. That gets a name too: co-regulation. Not fixing your partner's reaction, learning to stay steady enough together that neither of you has to manage the moment alone. Couples who skip this don't usually find out during the engagement. They find out later. A job loss, a health scare, a hard year when the wedding planning pattern has become the whole marriage pattern, and neither partner remembers it was ever optional. When you go quiet, I don't feel like you're calm. I feel like you're already gone. H finally said it out loud 3 weeks before the wedding. G hadn't realized that's what the silence looked like from the outside. G thought quiet meant, "I'm handling it." H had been hearing it as, "I'm done." That conversation didn't fix everything, but it gave them a shared language for the next time it happened, instead of two people quietly having two different fights in the same room. If you've never told your partner what your silence or your pushing actually means to you, that's the conversation to have before the wedding, not during your first hard year of marriage. That silence you're reading as calm, it might not be calm at all. If any of this feels familiar, the silence one of you reads as calm and the other reads as gone, the disagreement neither of you actually finishes, that's not a sign you're wrong for each other. That's information about the pattern running underneath the wedding planning. If any of this resonates with you, like and follow for more insight and strategy, whether you're building a relationship on the right foundation from the start or working to strengthen the one you're already in. Love connects you. The blueprint protects you.